Mr. Sriram, good afternoon and thank you so much for joining in.
Good afternoon.
Of course, you have met the finance minister today, and give us first up a sense of how that interaction really panned out. What is the sense that you're getting in what the budget of 2015 will hold out for us?
I think it was a very positive discussion. The finance minister started with some observations where he himself said that we want economic growth to go up. And we've had a challenging past. They have taken many initiatives in the last 7 months, which industry fully appreciates. And they want to, get economic activity going. That was the focus of our thrust also. The point I mentioned was that our main focus, and we request you to look at this in a strong way, is increasing the growth rate of the economy. That is the key element. And we mentioned 5-7 areas need to be looked at. I think fiscal consolidation is an area which needs to be addressed by the government. I think the savings rate and the consumption has to go up. That's something where, again, we made some suggestions. We talked about the investment climate, how investments can go up a little more. We talked about the agriculture sector. We talked about the manufacturing sector. And we talked about the ease of doing business. So I think under these 6 heads, we talked about various things which we requested the government to consider and look at, so that investment goes up, economic activity goes up.
So, Mr. Sriram, let's tackle a couple of those points that you mentioned and talk about how we can see increased investments coming in across all industrial sectors. The government has been trying to push forth with reforms. We've seen, in fact, the government resort to the ordinance rule as well to get some of those reforms moving. Do you think that this budget that we will have will be a transformational budget? Do you think we could see some path-breaking reforms being introduced or some new policies being introduced to spur on investment cycle?
I think so. But I think, as the FM also says, and we also feel, in the last 1 month, the government has moved actively towards, as you rightly said, through ordinance, getting the insurance percentage improved, getting the coal bill through, getting land changes done. So I think they're already moving, and we are confident that with the approach taken by the government over the last 7 months and with the basic philosophy of the government, let's not forget, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has won this election and an absolute majority in the Lok Sabha on the plank of growth, development and good governance. So I think they are going to work very actively on growth and development. That is the mandate for a young population of India. And we are confident this budget will come out with more facilitation for investment and growth, which will happen in the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months.
Mr. Sriram, let's talk about the investment cycle specifically, because everyone's been talking about how we need higher growth rates, higher savings rate. It's been 7 months into the new government, and while we do understand that the investment cycle picking up will take time, by when do you think that we could actually see measures on the ground? We could see our industrial production numbers also move into a higher trajectory. Do you think it's probably another 8 to 12 months away?
I think it will take, you're right, I think 6 to 9 months. But I think it's important to realize that the government in Delhi can make policy changes, initiate initiatives which can ease business, etc. But the actual investment happens in the states. As I say that we've got really one large India, but we have 29 mini Indias, which are the states, plus the union territories. So I think the changes, the sort of facilitation direction has to be taken by states too to attract investment. The center can only do so much.
If we just look at how things have progressed, the new government, of course, had some very harsh challenges in front of it globally as well. What worked out for us was the fact that a lot of factors fell into place. We saw crude prices tumble, and a sharpest knock that I don't think anyone was expecting at all. While, Mr. Sriram, people have been talking about investment challenges and how the high interest rate environment probably also has a part to play. We've had the finance minister also, throw hints about that, saying that it's a high interest rate regime that probably has led to slower growth. But you, as a part of the industry body and as a part of a large conglomerate in India, do you think that liquidity or credit is a challenge right now?
I think good projects will get the money. It's not a problem. I think some banks who have large NPAs, especially on the infrastructure side, I think there is an issue. So that is one recommendation which we made today morning to the finance minister and his team, was that like you have asset reconstruction companies, can you look at setting up a national asset management company for taking over all the infrastructure asset NPAs from public sector banks and put them into a separate corporate? Then the ratios of the banks will improve. They can look at investing again and giving more loans. So the cycle can get kick-started. And this asset management company can then look at sorting out the issues of NPAs and take it up with the various companies. So I think we have to look at various models of how one can bring about changes, because we do require investments in infrastructure, we do require investments across the board, because consumption has to go up. The point you mentioned about interest rates, that's absolutely right. We've been saying it, I've mentioned it before too, that with inflation where it is, interest rates we feel should come down, and we hope in this coming quarter it will come down. But you know, the finance ministry is not the place to decide that. So it was raised in the morning in the meeting with the FM, but it has to be done by the RBI. So interest rates is an important point, and I hope something happens there.
A very pertinent point. While you mentioned that the monetary policy or fixing of interest rates doesn't fall under the domain of the finance ministry, the other policy, the fiscal policy, certainly does, and that's also been a worrying factor. We've seen our fiscal deficit that the government's been trying very hard to get a rein on. Do you think that given the thrust on growth, the thrust on government also incurring fiscal expenditure, that probably for FY16 we'd see the government still be a little loose on the fiscal deficit target, and possibly they will not cut back expenditure at least as much as needed?
I think the need is to kickstart the economy. I think that's very important, to give a pace of growth so that investments happen and the cycle starts. But at the same time, absolutely, fiscal deficit is something of concern. We've suggested today that you can look immediately of diluting the shareholding in banks, bring it down to 51%. That gives liquidity. The disinvestment activity has not moved as per the government's budget, which they brought out in July. So we recommended this morning, please look at least 60,000 crores of money coming in through disinvestments over the next 12 months. And there are other areas too to look at. So one has to balance out the two. But I think both need to be addressed. But getting the economy going today is very important to actually get the Indian economy moving for a 6.5% next year. And then in 3-4 years' time, we hope 8 to 9% GDP growth.
Stepping a bit away from that, I also want to focus in on GST then. And, many are saying that the government's pushed ahead for a half-baked GST. But given the game-changing nature of this act and of this development, how it will totally lead to an overall of how we've seen and viewed state as well as central indirect taxes, what's your stance on how the GST bill stands as of now?
Well, what we've seen in the last 3-4 months, I think the finance minister has taken it up personally as a project to be executed across India. He's had meetings with the finance ministers of the states, with the secretaries, with the chief ministers, etc. We fully support GST. We think it's a game changer. We think it's actually going to add 1.5%, 2% to GDP. We also feel it's going to reduce the cost of manufacturing or cost of production of any product by almost 5 to 7% because of the ease of movement between states, etc., etc. So we suggested that please implement or attempt to implement GST on all products and services across the board and keep the rate at a reasonable rate. Secondly, we also suggested that please could you consult industry when you decide the rates, as well as on the processes and procedures to be implemented with the state levels, etc., because a lot of work has to be done in the companies also. And thirdly, we suggested that now that the government has mentioned that 1st April 2016, they would like to implement GST, please make out a firm milestone-based roadmap of how the implementation will happen, what steps will be taken with responsibilities, so we can actually see the rollout on 1st April 2016, because this is a game changer which must be done.
A game changer certainly it'll turn out to be. But, keeping it with the taxation issue, Mr. Sriram, I just wanted to get a sense on whether you could have any discussion with the finance minister about the GAR issues as well.
Well, there was no discussion, to be honest, but I did mention saying, please push back GAR by at least 2 years, because we require investments, and let's make the atmosphere conducive for investments. So on GAR we suggested please push it back by 2 years. But on other areas of tax we did have brief discussion, not on corporate tax rate, that didn't come up. But yes, on MAT, I requested him saying please revisit the rate of MAT. It was 7.5% in 2007 when it was implemented. Today is 18.5%. Please look at bringing it down to 10% so that you actually promote investments. Secondly, SEZs, etc., when they came up, they had tax breaks 6-7 years back which were withdrawn. So we suggested please bring them back. There is no point having a policy and then having no action or no implementation. So let's come back to what was the objective for SEZs. Similarly, on the western eastern corridor, etc., please push that really fast, because that can push economic growth. So I think there are a lot of areas which can be done. On the taxation side, there was no direct issue of corporate tax rate. That issue did not come up. But yes, retrospective tax, that's a cause of concern. The FM himself have made statements it's not a good thing, so we don't expect it to happen. On the issue of sorting out the tax cases, government has set up some appellate authorities in the last 4-5 days. We want that to be implemented faster. We must make it easier. We must make it more mentally comfortable, and not that each taxpayer is, someone who's trying to do something wrong. I mean, you will have black sheep everywhere, but don't paint everyone with the same brush.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.